Republican leaders are now starting to panic over the fact that Donald Trump's campaign is not just flopping, but it's flopping really hard at the state level. So here's what's happening. Donald Trump, of course, knows that this election is only going to come down to a few key swing states. Democrats, Harris campaign, they know that too. I think the American public knows it at this point. So the smart thing to do would obviously be to have a good ground game in those states. But after Donald Trump forced Ronna McDaniel out of her leadership position at the RNC earlier this year, then replaced her, with his daughter-in-law who knows nothing about running a political party, everything kind of went to crap. And here's why. You see, the Republican Party, back when Ronna McDaniel was still in charge of it, before Laura Trump took over to launch her singing career, they were planning on opening, how many was it? 90 offices around the country. 90 state Republican offices spread around 50 states. So we were going to have a ground game, the Republicans said. We've got plans. We're going to do 90 offices. We're going to fully staff them. And it's not just going to help our presidential nominee. It's going to help all the other Republicans in the state, because that's what state parties do. And that, of course, comes from the funding from the big party, the RNC. But then Ronna McDaniel gets kicked out, replaced with Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, and the rest is history. Rather than spending all that money hiring staff and opening new offices, what did they do instead? They hired election watchers and lawyers, of course, to challenge the results of the 2024 election. So even though we hadn't gotten to voting yet, because this started months ago, they said, well, we need our poll watchers. Well, we need our election security type people. And of course, we're going to have to hire lots of lawyers so that we can just challenge the results when the time comes, because we're never going to accept the election results. And as a result of that, they didn't open those offices. And now, as I mentioned, Republican leaders are freaking the hell out because, one, they don't have the apparatus to get money from the party now. They don't have a ground game. They don't have people going around and knocking on doors and making phone calls. So they've got nothing. And it's not just going to hurt them in the presidential race. It's going to hurt all down ballot Republicans across the country. Or at least that is the fear of these Republican officials. But as per usual, the Trump campaign says, hold your horses, media. Don't you be reporting fake news here. We got 350 people across the country that we have hired. Ha ha ha. 350 people spread between 50 states. If you could do the quick math, 7 people per state. That is what that math boils down to. They're bragging about hiring 350 people to work the entire country, which is 7 people per state. How's that going to work in New York City alone? Hell, 350 people in just New York City wouldn't be enough. By contrast, by the way, the Harris campaign has hired 750 people in the state of Pennsylvania alone, which obviously is still not enough people for Pennsylvania, but it's a lot more than the 7 that Trump is sending. I mean, Harris has 100 people plus for every 1 person Trump has. That's kind of funny and sad. But they're launching a new plan. They got plans, right? We're going to get more than 350 people. Here it is. The Trump campaign has now ramped up a program of its own called Trump Force 47, where volunteers receive limited edition MAGA hats and a list of 10 neighbors to focus efforts to get out the vote in return for merchandise. So the ground game is non-existent. And they're like, well, I mean, come on, we got a plan. The plan is we're going to make some special hats for a bunch of idiots. And each one of those idiots is going to go knock on 10 people's doors. And if they say they're going to vote for Trump, then they too shall receive a special hat. Isn't that special, folks? That is the grand plan of the Trump campaign. I don't even know what else to say. This might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, but hey, if you want a special MAGA hat and somebody comes knocking on your door saying, hey, free hat if you vote for Trump. Just say yes. Make their job a little easier. Take the hat. You can throw it away if you want. But that's their campaign plan, and I guess we'll see how that plays out in November. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.